The a-hole for cheating on my fiancé with his brother after finding out he cheated first. I slept with my fiancé's brother, and I do not regret it. Not after finding hundreds of explicit messages between my fiancé Mark and his mistress Amber. Not after discovering their affair had been going on for nearly a year behind my back, and definitely not after Mark had the audacity to tell me his cheating meant nothing, while mine was unforgivable because I chose his brother Jake. Everyone is calling me a monster now, but they do not understand what it feels like to have your entire future shattered by someone you trusted completely. Mark and I had been together for 4 years, engaged for 1. We were the couple everyone envied, the ones who seemed destined for a perfect life together. He was handsome, successful, and from a good family. I thought I had won the lottery with him. His brother Jake lived nearby, and we all spent a lot of time together. Jake was the wild one, the brother who never quite settled down, but he was fun to have around. 2 months ago, I borrowed Mark's laptop to finish a work presentation when my computer crashed. As I was searching through his files for a photo we had taken at a client dinner, I stumbled across a folder simply labeled A. Curiosity got the better of me, and I clicked on it. What I found shattered my world. Hundreds of intimate messages between Mark and a woman named Amber. Photos, videos, evidence of hotel meetups spanning back nearly a year. My hands trembled as I scrolled through message after message, each one driving the knife deeper into my heart. I confronted Mark that night, sobbing and shaking. I expected denial, but what I got was almost worse. He admitted everything with a casualness that chilled me. He explained that while he loved me and wanted to marry me, he had needs that sometimes required outside fulfillment. He actually suggested we could move past this and still get married, as if his betrayal was just a minor speed bump on our journey together. I packed a bag that night and went to stay with my friend Lydia. For a week, I was a wreck. I could barely eat or sleep. I called in sick to work and just cried until I had no tears left. Mark kept calling and texting, alternating between apologizing and minimizing what he had done. It was just physical, he claimed. It meant nothing. After that first week of grieving, something shifted inside me. The sadness started giving way to anger. Who was he to think he could cheat on me for a year and still deserve my loyalty? Why should I be the only one devastated while he got to have his cake and eat it too? That weekend, Jake called to check on me. He had heard from Mark about our break, but not the reason behind it. When I told him what his brother had done, he was furious. He suggested we meet for drinks so I could vent properly. I agreed, desperate for someone who understood my pain. One drink turned into several. Jake was attentive, validating my anger in ways no one else had. When he looked at me, I felt seen for the first time in weeks. I felt desired, not like the fool Mark had made me into. I will not pretend alcohol was not a factor in what happened next. We ended up back at his apartment, and I made a decision that seemed perfectly justified in that moment. If Mark could betray me for a year with some random woman, why should I not find comfort with someone I actually cared about? It felt like justice, like finally taking back some power in a situation where I had felt completely powerless. The next morning brought no regrets, which surprised me. If anything, I felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. Jake and I agreed it was a one-time thing, born out of unusual circumstances. We promised it would not affect our friendship. 2 weeks later, Mark showed up at my workplace with flowers, begging for another chance. He swore he had ended things with Amber, that he would go to therapy, that he would spend the rest of his life making it up to me. I listened calmly, then told him I needed more time to think. That night I called Jake. Something had shifted between us, and we both knew it. What started as revenge had awakened feelings neither of us had acknowledged before. We agreed to meet again just to talk. We did not do much talking. Over the next month, Jake and I continued seeing each other secretly. It was thrilling, passionate, and felt surprisingly right. Mark continued his campaign to win me back, unaware that I was now sleeping with his brother. Last week, things came to a head when Mark surprised me at my apartment with an expensive necklace and yet another plea for reconciliation. As he was leaving, Jake was arriving. They passed each other in the hallway, and though Jake made up an excuse about dropping off a book I had lent him, Mark is not stupid. I could see the suspicion dawning in his eyes. Later that night, he called me drunk and angry, accusing me outright of sleeping with his brother. In that moment, I made a choice. I was tired of lies and pretense. Yes, I admitted, I am seeing Jake. The explosion that followed was nuclear. Mark called me every name in the book, saying I was worse than he ever was because at least I did not cheat with your sister. He said I had destroyed his family, betrayed him in the worst possible way, and that what I had done was unforgivable. What you did was unforgivable too, I reminded him. The difference is, I am not asking for your forgiveness. Word spread quickly through our friend group and families. People have taken sides in ways I never expected. Some friends who initially sympathized with me now say I went too far, that sleeping with Jake crossed a line that even Mark's cheating did not justify. Mark's parents, who once treated me like a daughter, now refuse to speak to me. Even my own parents seem uncomfortable with the situation, suggesting I should have taken the high road. Jake has stood by me, insisting we did nothing wrong given the circumstances. He says he has genuine feelings for me, that what started as comfort has grown into something real. I believe him, and I feel the same way. But lately the weight of everyone's judgment has started to affect me. I find myself wondering if I really did go too far, if the satisfaction of hurting Mark the way he hurt me was worth the chaos that has followed, if Jake and I can ever have a real relationship with this foundation, or if we are just kidding ourselves. Mark continues to text me, oscillating between rage and despair. In his latest message, he said that what I did was infinitely worse than his affair with Amber, because his was just physical, while mine was emotional betrayal with his own blood. He says I have permanently destroyed his relationship with his brother, and that is on me. I do not believe I am responsible for their damaged relationship. Mark did that himself when he decided to cheat. I just happened to find comfort with someone who understood my pain, who happened to be his brother. Was it complicated? Yes. Was it the wisest choice? Probably not. But was it wrong, given what Mark did to me first? I genuinely do not think so. I did not cheat on a faithful partner. I sought connection after being betrayed in the worst way. The fact that it was with Jake might be messy, but Mark forfeited any right to my loyalty the moment he started his affair. So, am I the a-hole?